Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to the January Food Security Community Call. We have a lot of folks joining in from the weight room, so we'll give it just another minute while folks get in and get situated. All right. Good afternoon. For those of you new to our call, I'm Anne Marie Hart Bookbinder, Food Security Programs Director at the Montgomery County Food Council. Thanks so much for joining us for our January food security call and to kick off our Peer Learning Circles program. So just a few quick updates while folks are still coming in. I just wanted to share that on December 18th, the Food Council submitted a sign-on letter to the county executive urging continued investments in the food system to support county residents. I appreciate all of you who signed on to that letter and helped make that happen. And of course, to Michelle Caruso and Jack Ewert of our policy team for making that happen with you all as well. We're going to put a link in the chat where you can read the full letter. It was endorsed by 78 co-signers, including local food assistance providers, advocacy organizations, nonprofits, small businesses, and other key partners. And this really underscores the collective commitment, in our community to addressing food insecurity. So again, thank you all for your participation in that process. I do also want to share that we are kicking off, or it has already kicked off, the Maryland legislative session for 2025. It's going to be running, it runs from January 8th until April 7th. This is the 444th session of the Maryland General Assembly. They'll be meeting in Annapolis. Food Council will continue to track state legislation, take positions on relevant bills, and weigh in with testimony. We're going to be including a link to our public legislation tracker, and where you can follow any position and action that the Food Council takes, including reading our final submitted testimony. So again, a great way to keep up with all Food Council policies in that area. And we'll share a little bit more information about that in the chat. I am going to be a few minutes ahead of schedule, which is fine. We have a lot to cover today. Bita is going to be sharing our agenda in the chat if that has not already happened, and we will keep doing that because we know for folks joining us a little late to catch you up. I am going to, before we talk about the Peer Learning Circles program, I am going to turn things over to Allison Schnitzer on our SNAP team to talk a little bit about that work and ways that food assistance providers can connect to our SNAP team if you have clients to refer. Allison.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Good afternoon, everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Allison Schnitzer, and I am the director of our SNAP program here at the Food Council. I wanted to just take a moment today. I know that with everything that's going on in the federal landscape, it's an uncertain time. It's a downright scary time for some of our county's most vulnerable residents who rely on nutrition benefits, to put food on their table every month. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone on this call was well connected with us, with our team, and with the services that we provide. So thank you, Bita, for sharing the slide. First of all, I have two members of our SNAP team here today. I just wanted to give them 1 second to introduce themselves so you guys can put a face with the name and know where your referrals will be going if you send them to us. So Sharon, do you want to go ahead and go first and introduce yourself real quickly?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. This is Sharon. I'm the food access coordinator, and we were at the SNAP outreach team. So we help clients to connect with SNAP benefits. So, if you ever, need assistance with SNAP, if you know someone that needs assistance, please refer them to us. We'll be happy to help. So thank you, everyone.
And then Danny, yeah, go ahead, Danny.
Hello, hi everyone. I know some of you. I'm Danielle Ferreira. I work for Ellison, which is an amazing person and a director. We work with the SNAP team, Hugh, Sharon, Elizabeth, and Phoebe. We usually help our clients that refer to different organizations that need assistance in applying for SNAP as well. And we love what we do. And if you guys have some referrals to send to us, we'll be glad to assist your clients as well. And then that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you both. So as you can see, there's Darren, Danny, and Sharon there in a picture doing some outreach at a community event. So that's one thing that we can do if you have community events, food distributions, other outreach opportunities. Reach out to us, and we can try to be there to connect with your clients in person. We also do SNAP trainings for frontline staff. Obviously, they're going to be likely many changes to federal policy with SNAP. So we're happy to come and speak to staff and, help educate them on what's going on. We pre-screen residents for eligibility, and then we also do the SNAP application for them. And we're able to do that completely over the phone, so they don't have to come into an office or anything like that. We provide all the technical assistance that's needed, and we provide accurate information because we know there is so much misinformation out there. We also connect residents to food assistance in their areas. And then we connect them to other resources, whether that's other benefit programs or whatever it is that we may need. We use our wonderful network of providers here in the county to make sure that if they've come to us and they have other needs, they have an avenue to get those needs met. And then I know some of you participate in our SNAP work group, but we hold that monthly. The next meeting is January 28th. Please reach out to me if you would like to be part of it. We'd love to have you. And there's our contact information. So as simple as a resident's name and phone number is all we need, and we'll reach out and take it from there. So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Allison or the SNAP team? All right, just letting a few more folks in.
I see, Stephen, that you have your hand up. So,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't see.
Yeah, just a quick question. When we've enrolled people in the data system from Capital Area Food Bank, one of the questions we ask them on there is if they are involved with the SNAP program. And I get very few yeses. So my question is, do you have some sort of an information sheet in Spanish and maybe Mandarin that we could hand out to people? So we speak some Spanish, some French, some English. Our best Mandarin speaker is away for a couple months back in China. But if there was just a poop sheet on how they could follow up if they wanted to see if they were eligible for a SNAP program.
absolutely. And I'll make sure that Anne-Marie sends that out with the follow-up, is that we can send out our informational flyers. And I'm also happy if there are other organizations on this call who provide SNAP outreach assistance. And looking at Jenna and Manna right now, I'd be happy to send out the flyers for everyone else as well.
Thank you.
Allison, there's another question in the chat. If you could remind folks about documentation status for SNAP eligibility.
Sure. And this is exactly what we'll be focusing our January SNAP work group meeting on. So if you do not have documentation, you are not eligible for SNAP. However, if you are in a household where parents don't have documentation, but the children are U.S. citizens, the children are eligible and can receive the SNAP benefit, and the parents can be listed as head of household on that application without receiving the benefit, but the children can. So a lot of the work that we do, that Danny and Sharon do every day, is assisting just that type of household.
Ruth, I see Ruth has a question. Oh, Ruth, you're on mute. Ruth, I just tried asking. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Are you going to send out the SNAP information to everyone after this meeting? Or do we need to specifically request it?
It will go to everyone, I think, who registered for the meeting or on the listserv, but if you want to throw your name and your email address in the chat, I'll be sure to send it to you as well.
Okay, well, if it comes to everyone, that'll be perfect because that's something we could definitely use.
I'm going to put my email in the chat, and so, you know, if anyone would like to reach out, talk about SNAP, I'm happy to do so.
Okay, sorry, just responding to something in the chat. Okay, if we don't have any other further questions there, we will move over to our peer learning circles portion of the program. I ask you all in advance to bear with me, one, because it's Monday, so just always bear with all of us on a Monday afternoon. But two, I know that we have a lot of information to share, and I appreciate those of you who read through my lengthy email with a lot of information to share. And if you didn't, or if some of it doesn't make sense, don't worry, because we're going to talk about it all over again right now. I think it's helpful to make sure we're all on the same page. I know we may have some providers here who did not get the full picture of that email because they are not a community food assistance grantee. So some of this may be brand new to everyone. But I think it's also important just to kind of walk us all through, break it down into different sections, make sure folks don't, have questions or have things that they would like clarification on, and for us all to be in the same page before we go into breakout rooms. So give me 1 second as I start sharing my screen. And I'm sorry you have to tolerate with this new Zoom system of having to move around your screen. It is particularly frustrating. So just give me a second to stretch it out so you can see it all. Okay, sorry. Stop my sharing for a second because that is too big for me to share. Okay, there we go. So again, thank you for joining us today for our kickoff of the Peer Learning Circles program. We really want to use this opportunity to bring together community food assistance grantees and other food assistance providers serving Montgomery County together on a regional level. And we think that this space is really going to give us all an opportunity to discuss operational challenges and opportunities, to identify best practices, and to really strengthen networks and the collaborations to increase capacity. And I'm sorry, I've got to stop this for 1 second. I'm so sorry. Bita, could you take over screen sharing for me? I'm having a little bit of a challenge here.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. The file is in the shared folder, so you should be able to bring that up. Thank you so much. Okay, next slide. Okay. And again, just to give some context that, this is really a time where we're experiencing decreased funding for food assistance resources and budget shortfalls at both the state and county levels. And we know that the level of which could be impacted even further by possible decreased federal funding in the future. So it's really critical that providers come together to find ways to continue meeting the needs of residents. Next slide, please. So breaking down the 3 areas that this program will cover, it will incorporate our food security community calls, and we'll share a little bit about the change in schedule for those moving forward. It will also be regional convenings, which again, we'll talk more about, and training sessions. Next. So food security community calls. For those of you who have been joining us for a long time now, these calls highlight information about programs and resources from county and community partners that are of interest to food assistance providers and the greater food security community. We are going to be shifting these calls to an every other month schedule. So we have this call here in January where we're kicking things off. We will meet again then in March, in May, in July, and in September. These calls will continue to take place on the second Monday of the month from 1 to 2:30, virtual calls. And here's some tentative subjects that will be, highlighting on those calls, along with just regular organizational spotlights and updates, on programs as new information becomes available. Next slide. In those other months, we have new opportunities to connect, and these are going to be our regional convenings. So these are going to be based on service area of your organization. We're going to have 3 groups that meet, one that focuses on UpCounty, one on the MidCounty, and one on the DownCounty. Each group will meet 3 times over the contract year, with at least one of these meetings taking place in person. Again, there'll be approximately 90 minutes, like the food security community calls. We're having our first meeting here today as our kickoff, and we plan to meet again in February and in August. I want to be sure to note that providers, your input and your prioritization of your organizational challenges are really going to determine the discussions that take place in these groups. And the Food Council will be providing support to these spaces via facilitation, keeping track of issues and action items, and assisting in the creation of additional learning opportunities and resources that are identified by the group. So again, we want those food assistance providers that are not currently receiving community food assistance grants from the Office of Food Systems Resilience to join us. You are welcome and encouraged to participate in this space, and we hope you will do so. Next slide, please. Other discussion topics for these groups will be, again, so the leading topic will be the peer discussions on those operational issues that you've identified and, discussed as a group that you want to work on together moving through the year, sharing of best practices on those topics. And we'll also be regularly touching base on identifying and prioritizing any new or emerging operational issues and resources that could be needed. Sharing recent service data and trends, gathering your feedback on the resources that we have shared on previous food security community calls or training sessions, of course, networking opportunities for you, and the planning of any site visits or tours or resource presentations that the group has identified would be helpful for their, to help inform their work. Next slide. Just a little bit of information as to how we chose, kind of what your designation would be in one of these 3 groups. We did use the hubs the service consolidation hubs, geographic areas as guides in this process. So just a handy map of zip codes here, and we'll talk a little more about this. And yes, Faiza, as always, we are going to share these slides and all of the resources that we discussed on today's call with you following the meeting. So no fear, you don't have to be taking extensive notes. Do not worry. For those of you who may not be familiar with the service consolidation hubs, these are 7 organizations around the county that each have specific service areas that serve residents to connect them not just to food, but to other wraparound services that they might need, and also including things like diaper, clothing, hygiene products, medical clinics, and other services. Next slide, please. Okay. So what do the makeup of these 3 groups look like? First of all, again, I want to stress that these slides only include designations for those food assistance providers that are receiving community food assistance grants. I have not assigned any other food assistance providers. You are welcome to find the group that best meets your service area needs and be a part of that. Providers, again, may choose to participate in more than one regional convening space, but we do ask that you be consistent in your participation in at least one specific regional group. So you're going to make a commitment to one group, to consistently participate there, but you are welcome to join other meetings, as your interest and your schedule allows. So this is for our DownCounty regional convening. And as you can see, what we've done here is we've pulled together those service area zip codes for the East County hub and the Clifton Park Baptist Church hub. So if your organization is located and or serves the residents in these zip codes, this is the group that we have assigned you to. So I'll give everyone a second to take a look at that. Those of you that are community food assistance grantees, this designation was noted in the email that I sent out sharing information about the program, so you do have it there. If that is not an accurate reflection of your service area, maybe you're located there, but you're serving mostly residents in a different zip code than these DownCounty ones, please feel free to let me know and we will get you connected to the right group. But this is who we have as of today. Next slide. Here's for our MidCounty regional convening. This covers the service area zip codes of 3 hubs: Interfaith Works, Harvest International, and Hughes United Methodist Church. So again, based on where either you are located or where we had a knowledge of where you serve. But again, if this is not an accurate reflection, of the majority of residents and programs that you are working with, you are welcome to change that designation. Oh, did I write sorry. Thanks, Deanna. It's been a Monday. All right, next slide. And finally, our UpCounty regional convening, and this pulls from our UpCounty hub and Gaithersburg Cares Hub service areas. Give you all a second to take that in. All right, next slide, please. Okay. And the third part of our programming goes to our trainings. So we have 4 training slots planned for the year. The first 2 are going to focus on data collection, and then the third will focus on grant writing. The remaining training topic will be selected based on feedback from providers. These trainings will last, again, approximately 90 minutes, and we're sharing some tentative training dates here. We are well underway with planning our first training, which is going to take place on Tuesday, January 28th at 10 a.m. regarding the cultural aspects of data collection. And we have a great set of speakers lined up for you. 2 of our Food Council members, Monica Rivera-Goldberg from the Community Action Agency and Agar Mibianda from Mana Food Center. We're also going to be joined by some partners from Safe Places, a community organization. And we will be reaching out in advance to get your questions so we can share those in advance with the speakers, make sure we're covering all the topics you want to know about. I will also tell you that we're hoping to host the training sessions via an in-person virtual hybrid mode, which would also allow for recording. This really depends on space and technology resources available. If we're unable to support a hybrid session, the training will be held virtually and it will also be recorded. But for the first session, we are going to focus on trying to have it in person. It is going to be located in Rockville. I will share details again very soon. For that one, I do strongly encourage you to attend in person if possible, as I can't really guarantee that everything is going to go smoothly electronically, until we're there and actually doing it. I think we'll also have a better discussion being together in person. And I know that many of you are seeking opportunities to network and engage, and that's really harder to do when we're not in a room together. So again, more information will be coming out soon on that and further trainings. So stay tuned and please mark your calendars for January 28th. Okay, next slide. Just a reminder for those of you, again, that are OFSR CFA grantees, the attendance at regional convenings, training sessions, and food security community calls will be tracked, as your participation in this program will be used to satisfy the commitments you made in your grant application to participate in at least one food assistance provider training per quarter and to commit to regular participation in food assistance provider peer learning circles. So just a note for you. Next slide. So we are going to be going into our breakout room shortly. And again, just a review of what it is that we are hoping to accomplish there today. First, and I apologize for not putting this on the slide because this really is the most important, is saying hello, right? And introducing yourself and meeting everyone that is working in your service area to serve the residents of Montgomery County, right? That's one of the key benefits of these convenings is for you to connect and network. So that's going to happen. We also want you to identify the operational challenges that you would like to address in this space over the year, the areas of expertise you feel that you can share with others to help support their peer learning. And we're also going to collect some feedback on the boxed produce vendor showcase that we hosted last month and the resources that were shared there. We really want to know if those were useful to you, if you were able to connect to resources, if you had any challenges in connecting to any of the providers, any assistance or updates we can assist with there, we would love to know. And then finally, you are going to have a homework assignment that we cover, and hopefully this will be pretty quick via a Google form. We want to make sure we know who is the appropriate point of contact or points of contact for this space. Anyone whose email address and name you give me to, we are going to add them to a Google group for your regional space. That is how we are going to reach you in the future. That's how you're going to be able to share, and have conversations with other members of your regional convening. So we really want to make sure that the right person or people is on that list for who is going to engage in this space in the future. We also want to confirm your participation or your need for assistance in participating in both the Food Council's Food Assistance Resource Directory map. We want to make sure your information is up to date there. Many of you we've met with, or not many, we've met with some of you recently. I know some of these have been updated. We know things always change. So we will provide you with the information you need there to check your listing and make sure that that is up to date. And also the county government's food distribution calendar. We want to make sure that you are updating that. If you need assistance, we'd like to know that as well. And any particular problems you may be having entering your information in that system. And then lastly, as part of this form, we want you to share your scheduling preferences to inform our scheduling of your regional convenings and any future trainings. We'd really like to have that information collected and make sure that we can make these dates work for as many of you as possible. I do want to stress, I may not have loaded it onto the form yet, but I will put it there. We are just looking for one response per organization. So if you are lucky enough to have more than one person in your organization, or more than one person who will be engaging in this space, if you could please work together to complete the form, so we can more easily and quickly get all of this information pulled together. And I will also ask if you could get this to us by the end of the week. That would be great, because we really want to get moving on planning those February convening calls. Next slide. I just wanted to show quick some pictures here in case I have said or referenced items that are new or ones that you have not been made aware of in the past. There is a link to the Montgomery County Food Assistance Resource Map and to the county's food giveaway event calendar. Again, there are links in the form for you to check those and look, but just something here for those where this may be new information that you're getting. And next slide. Just a blow up of what you would see on the Montgomery County Food Council's Food Assistance Resource Directory. This is the type of information that we are including in your listings. So you should be able to find something similar for your organization in our list. If you're not in there at all, we definitely want to get you included. And if this is information that needs to be updated, we want to do that as well. Okay, I think I am done with slides. Gonna give it a good 2 minutes to see if folks have any questions about all of that. I realize it's still a lot and we went through it quickly. I see that there are some questions in the chat. I'm gonna start looking at them now, but please feel free to raise your hand or just start sharing if you have a question that you'd like to ask. Some of those just personal chats. Okay. All right. That being said, we are going to launch our breakout rooms. Again, these are going to be listed, and I'm hoping we have that all set up. We're going to have 3 breakout rooms. Again, one for the DownCounty providers, one for MidCounty, one for UpCounty. We do have a list of our recommended areas. If you have any questions or
we're supposed to just start this process. We do have a little script here, so I'm just going to make sure that there's nothing I'm missing in what we're doing with our organizations. We are basically asking everyone to start by just giving us your name, your organization, whether you are a recipient in the Community Food Assistance Program. And I think that's everything for now. Then we'll get into some sort of round robin questions. I'll kick off by saying I'm Elizabeth. I'm with the Food Council. I am the Director of Programs and Impact, but I've been in this space with all of you since I started here 4 years ago now. I'll also say, because she's in the room, that we ripped off this idea from Reverend Kendra, who has been doing such a fantastic job organizing in East County, and we really saw the power of those meetings and what you've been doing in that space. So I wanted to just kick it off by thanking you for that work, and really hoping to replicate that on a wider basis throughout the county. So just giving kudos where they're due. And with that, I will just kick it off and open it up to folks who want to introduce themselves and, you know, who you are, what you do, and the grant recipient piece of it as well.
Okay. My name is Donrick Soji Thomas. I am the President and Chief Executive Officer for Educator Support Services. We're based in Tacoma Park. We've been providing food assistance since 2012. And we're also a recipient of the Community Food Assistance Grant.
Hello, everybody. Kendra Smith. Kingdom Global Community Development Corporation and the director of the East County Hub. Great to be here.
Hello, everybody. I can introduce myself again. I'm Danny. I work with Elizabeth and Allison with the SNAP team, and I'm here for the Montgomery County Food Council. Nice to meet you all.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joseph McCarley. I'm the Vice President of Operations for Terrific Incorporated. We're a nonprofit housing and human service organization that provides service in the District of Columbia and most recently in Montgomery County, Maryland. We're located in Tacoma Park, Maryland.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom Ulrich, associated with the Liberty Grove United Methodist Church in Burtonsville. We have a drive-through food pantry. Cars will line up and drive through every 2 weeks.
Hi there, I am Randy Drury. I'm with Clifton Park Baptist Church, which is the Silver Springs Service Consolidation Hub.
Hello everyone, my name is Xinxin Liu and I'm a health project coordinator at Korean Community Service Center of Great Washington. We are currently engaging in a food service guideline project funded by the CDC. Nice to meet you all. Thank you.
And I keep forgetting to ask, sorry, before you jump in, are you a grant recipient or here out of interest with what's going on in the area?
Because our project aims to reduce the health disparities within our community, like improving the nutritional quality and cultural tailoring of food and beverage offering in the community settings. So, and we focus on the Montgomery County, the whole county. So we wanted to, to network with different organizations, try to provide the food service for our communities.
Great, thank you. Welcome. Sorry, keep going, everyone.
I'm Joyce Romanis, and I'm with St. Camilla's Food Pantry.
Thank you.
And are you a CFA recipient as well?
I think the answer is yes.
Okay.
I've just come back. I was with the Food Pantry for many years, and then I've been gone for 2 years, and I'm now coming back as coordinator.
Got it.
We're all volunteer. We're all so.
Yeah, got it.
And I think the answer is yes. I mean, we've received a grant. So.
Got it.
Hi, my name is Thoi Trần. I'm the founder and executive director of Vietnamese American Services. I'm a grantee, also partner with many of you here. Aga, you are Elizabeth from Randy, and we grantee with a grant with the Montgomery County with Capital Food Bank and another grant with Mark. Yeah. That's it. Nice to see you guys.
Thank you for being here, To.
Hello,
for those
everyone. I'm very sorry to be off camera. My internet connection is not good. My name is Agam Bianda. I'm the Community Engagement Manager with Mana Food Center. I lead our outreach activities, our SNAP outreach, and our voucher program. Nice to be here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Cisse. I'm with City of Light Helping Hands here in Silver Spring, focusing in providing culturally appropriate food for our community, and we're a CFA grantee as well.
I believe we have, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, my name's Kira O'Brien. I work with Montgomery County in the Office of Food Systems Resilience. So you probably know my colleague, Catherine Nardi. I spend a lot of time working with her to make sure our half a dozen grant programs run as smoothly as possible. So I recognize a lot of your names and your organization's names, and I'm just excited to hear how things are going with you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Kara. Who else haven't we heard from? Carolyn, did you check in?
Yes, Carol with Clifton Park Baptist Church, work with Randy with the hub.
Fantastic. And Long, have we heard from you?
Hello. Yeah, I'm a volunteer working with Mana Food Bank and a Capital Food Bank, Child March. Yeah, we have been working volunteer for a few years already.
Fantastic. We totally understand the camera's off in this space. We do hope that we're in a bit of a, that artificial Zoom room feeling, but and hope throughout the course of the year that with more in-person meetings that we will develop a lot more spaces for great conversation. I understand how sometimes it can be hard in these break rooms, but we really do have the next half hour or so to start getting into it, just to start talking about some things. We've got some specific questions that we're hoping that you could ask, but also really encourage in any of these, as we pose any of these questions, that this is meant to be a conversation. So please ask questions. If you hear, something that someone is saying, we really encourage that kind of dialogue instead of a sort of round robin reporting out the whole time. But let's see if we can't jump into some of our questions here. I think what we're trying to assess with all of this and is, where are the operational challenges these days? What is making your job hard? And how can we as a community come together to solve these problems? So this is really part of the data gathering stage of our start down this regional path. I just want to check my notes to see if I am missing something that's not more specific. 2 operational challenges that you are experiencing as an organization that you would like to work on together with this group over the year. And I guess the other thing, so these are questions that Anne-Marie put together, that's why I'm reading them off. The other thing is 2 sort of maybe strengths of your organization or things that you're doing really well, areas where you feel you've learned a valuable lesson and can give back to the community. She threw out 2. I'm willing to take anything. And if you feel like you're not ready to share in one or the other category, that is understandable too. But what's top of mind for everyone? And where do you feel like you can lend a hand in all of this? Is there someone that wants to kick that discussion off? I want to make sure we hear from everybody, but if somebody, and Stephanie, you're joining us.
I'm so sorry I'm late.
That's okay. That's all right. Would you like to, Stephanie, to introduce yourself, what organization you're with, and whether you received funding through the Community Food Assistance Grant Program?
Sure. So first of all, I apologize again. I was in a meeting here that I lost track of time and I forgot to join this at 1 o'clock. So I apologize very much. I was looking forward to this meeting. My name is Stephanie Severe. I'm with the Capital Kosher Food Pantry in Silver Spring. We generally service the Jewish community in the greater Washington, D.C. area. And what was the next question? I service?
Oh, just whether you're part of the Community Food Assistance Program.
Yes, we did receive a very generous grant from the county for this coming year. We're very grateful for that.
With that, did anyone else join that I'm looking that didn't get a chance to introduce themselves? It looks like we got that covered. Back to our questions then. Would anyone like to start by, maybe we'll just start with challenges. What are the difficulties that you're facing these days and things that you would like to see us maybe help address during the coming year?
Elizabeth, if you don't mind, I would like to go for so for Educare, one thing we've noticed after COVID, we've been providing food assistance for over 10 years now, since 2012. One of the challenges that we're experiencing right now, it's recruiting volunteers. It's very difficult for, in the past, I don't know what happened. We used to have a lot of volunteers from public schools, Montgomery College, University of Maryland, because we're very close to them. But we've reached out to them and we are not getting positive response as we used to. And it's hard. Usually we get volunteers, but are the ones that get mandated by the court system to be there. And as soon as they accomplish the hours, they're gone. So that's the challenges. So we're working on that. We actually on the process of recruiting volunteers from local churches in the area. So we go into different churches to talk about programs and also talk to the pastors and see if they're able to at least send some folks on the days that we open. Especially, we just have a new location, which will be open in March, in Tacoma Park. It's a huge space that we just acquired. It's not too far from our current location in Tacoma Park, but we'll share that information in the next meeting. And in terms of all the challenges that we're experiencing, one thing I've noticed that we need to, as different entities working on food resilience or helping individuals in the community to acquire food assistance, we need to coordinate the days, like our schedule. Because one thing I noticed on the first Saturday, the individuals that come to our food pantry, we start at 10 o'clock and we end at 1 o'clock. They will come with tons of food, like they've gone for another food pantry. So what they would do is shop from one food pantry to another, one food pantry to another. And some of the buildings that we deliver to, it's sometimes you go outside, you find food sitting outside in the trash can and stuff like that, because they get in a different organization coming to these buildings on the same day or probably the same week. So I think that's something I've actually expressed with Diana and other individuals from the food council. We have to have a schedule. So if I'm there on Monday, if educators coming to this building on Monday this week, at least the other organization who was serving that building should at least choose another day or another week. So at least there's consistency. But coming on the same day, on the same week, that's like ample food that's going to waste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those two things sound very familiar. I'm just curious, we won't do show of hands, but the volunteer thing and the coordination have been sort of thematic. I also wanted to say just at the outset, so we're due back in the main room at 2:15. So just keeping an eye on the clock, we'll try to round robin it here on this first question until 2. So if everyone could just keep an eye on that clock as they're giving us their responses. Do people have, does that resonate with folks? Does anyone else have sort of similar feelings about some of the challenges that that were expressed?
So I would like to talk about the way that people, no, not the way, access to food in DownCounty. So as an immigrant, I realized that most of the African immigrants, they don't know, or they don't have access, or they have access, they don't want to use the services. This morning I was talking to someone, and I know the work that Reverend Kendra has done at Enclave and continue to do there, but the person was telling me that there are a lot of families, African families there, who are struggling with food. And I was very surprised because we do a lot of community events. We have our market at Old Columbia Park, where people can just ride a bus and have access to food. And I see it in so many places. How do we strategize so that African communities, you know, when they have access to resources, they use them. So it's a problem that I see around East County and Down County, where we still have people. We have a lot of resources, but people do not use it, and they are struggling. I see how they struggle, but they don't want. Sometimes with SNAP, it's another story, because they're gonna say, "Oh, I don't want people to have my information," and with food, it's the same thing. So I don't know how we can sit down together and tackle and see how to bring those families to get all the resources that we have down in downtown.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Reverend Kendra.
Good afternoon, everybody. Agar, absolutely. And so we definitely will be, interested in talking offline about how we can have some intentionality around those families. In my experience, and I'm sure many of you guys have experienced, intentionality is what really is effective. While we have information that goes out and it's on all of the calendars and everything, when we want to focus on a particular community, a particular population, a group, a family, being very more intentional about that What we have learned is starting smaller. And if there's an influencer or someone in that community that would help us to reach out to others, that's one way that we've begun to address it. In enclaves, the population that we serve is primarily Latino and Middle Eastern. And so I don't see as many of the African families. I see them more so, Agar, at Windsor Court and Towers distribution over there in Castle Boulevard. There tends to be a higher population there for whatever reason. But I would like to talk more about that because that is a challenge. Mr. Is it Dunrick? Am I pronouncing that correct?
Right, you got it right.
We see the same. We see the exact same in terms of sometimes people having just, food and then either they're disposing of the food that they don't want. We had a very similar situation happen at Enclaves. And we did our best to work with the community. We engaged and are engaging the Muslim Community Center, who was already doing work there, to help us have a better understanding of the type of food. First, we wanted to make sure, is this not what you want? And so we realized it was, because it was primarily produce. But there were some other things, some aspects of it too. For us in that particular situation specifically, people were putting food in the hallway in a way to share food, not necessarily to throw food away. We did find food. They did say that there was food in trash cans and things of that nature, but the hallway was an attempt to share. And so we did our best and doing our best to do more choice in those particular locations and just really asking people very kindly, if you don't want it, don't take it. I think the challenge that we face, at least that we find, is that some of our families are still operating from a scarcity mentality. And so there's a fear that there's not enough. And so when I have a fear that there's not enough, then I take more, even if I don't need more. And so some of that may be cultural, some of that just, I think, is societal. And so how we operate as a food pantry, a food access provider, that's a challenge that we're working through right now. So that's one of my challenges that I'll put on the table. Is really how to work more closely with the communities that we're serving. And are there any assumptions that I have that I should not have? I mean, we all know this, but this is just what I've learned over the last 4 years. It's such a sensitive area, as you've mentioned, Agar, and people not wanting to know that it's helpful for us to have a better sense. Like I said, if they're influencers, somebody in that community that we trust, that trusts us, that can help us to communicate. But I think it's an ongoing challenge. I'm not sure if there's a silver bullet in this. That's just what we've learned. So those are a couple of our challenges. Thanks for letting me share.
I guess it's something a little bit to that for my guy and Reverend Kendra, because many of the challenges, especially within the African community, they're not utilizing the food pantries because they think the staple food or what they're looking out for, they don't get them in the pantries. And that has been the challenge, that they actually don't go, but they are actually food insecure. And part of the thing that we do in our service, we have that mixture. Of course, Reverend Kendra, you know about that. We have a mixture because it's not just Africans that comes over to us, the Asians, the Hispanic. So sometimes during our distribution, we have a little bit of a choice, especially when it comes to the protein. Let's say we have a smoked fish, we have chicken, we have, like some of the Hispanic may not want the smoked fish, but we do have that choice. That helps to eradicate some waste. So we don't give them something that they don't want. So they actually have that little bit of a choice, which the volunteers are helping and working towards that. But with what our guy is saying, many Africans don't go to the food pantry because they think the food that they want are not in there. So we need a lot of outreaches in that area. And some say, I'd rather go to work because I'll go there, I'll get a lot of canned food, and that's not what I want. That's not what I'm training my children with. And we try to have that balance. And praise God here. I'm not preaching here, but with the grants, we're able to got some palm oil, got some fish, got some cassava leaf that we have in that mixture that is going around. And we do some survey with the Haitians that comes as well, what they like, and we give that to them as well. So I just throw that one in there.
Yeah. So we're talking, I mean, so much of it is relationship building and then education about what is available. I feel like it's human nature, right? To have these feelings and issues around reaching out for help, but then it's incumbent on us to be able to educate and then to really create those communities of trust, right? Joseph, did you come on camera to share? Or I don't mean to pick on anyone if anyone's not ready to.
Well, I came on camera, but I would say we are just recently entering Montgomery County. We operated in the District of Columbia for 50 years. Our founders live in Montgomery County, but in addition to that, we frequently serve a lot of consumers from Montgomery County crossing over into the district line. So recently we expanded our efforts to include Montgomery County. So I was really happy to hear about the meeting today. I was invited to it and really to learn about some of the efforts that are taking place in Montgomery County and how we can participate and be of assistance as well.
Thank you. Any other challenges that you haven't heard voiced yet that from anyone else who hasn't spoken up yet? If you come off camera,
I'm kind of interested. One resource I haven't heard is a challenge I haven't heard is resources. That's always a challenge because the means always outweigh the need. So I think it would be resources, you know, for everybody. And I would be shocked if anyone online said it wasn't, but and that builds into finding, you know, volunteers are great, but sometimes when you have paid staff, you know, sometimes they can be more dependable. That's, I say sometimes, but you can direct them a little easier. So in terms of resources, so, you know, the county does a lot, but at the same point in time, maybe in terms of more private dollars that would contribute to enhance all of the efforts as well.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
And I think with Reverend Kendra can, with all the work at the East County, we still face a lot of challenges in terms of resources, and then we're still going through the situation of our shared refrigerator unit. Reverend Kendra, about 2 years now, we're still going through that process and getting operated, and resources has always been the challenge. And Mr. John Rick, with the challenge of, where's that noise coming from? I don't know where
Dr. Cisse, we're getting a little background noise, I think, from you. And it looks like, Tom, you were coming up,
I don't know where the
Mike,
noise
and then also Joyce, it looks like you have your hands up. So I've got you guys queued up. Tom, did you have something you wanted to share?
I was enjoying listening to somebody drilling the teeth in the background.
Oh.
Yeah, we have been operating a food pantry every other week. We have 180 cars that drive through our parking lot. And with the reduction in funding now, we're moving just to, we can only support those 180 families once a month. And so I'm struggling with the value in doing that.
That's a great question.
And we were thinking of, you know, when we first received the notification that our funding was reduced, we were trying to figure out is, you know, how would we select out of the 180 families those that are the most needy, or how could we be most impactful with the funding that we have? And I don't know.
Yeah, allocation of resources and making some very big decisions, right? It's really tough. I just, again, keeping that on clock. Let's go to 2:05, and then I want to switch gears a little bit. But Joyce, what did you have to say?
I just have a question, which is about the grant fund money. When is it going to be available at Capital Area Food Bank? The part of our grant went there.
The details of the funding is something I am not too very close with. We can certainly, if folks want to weigh in the next 2 minutes and have a quick answer, but otherwise I'm happy to bring that question back to Anne Marie. I just don't have the detail.
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We got 2 more minutes for a challenge. Any more challenges before we move on to something else?
Well, I have one more. I don't know if other
Please.
people have it, so I don't know if it's specific to us, but you know, we're located right on the Montgomery County line, about, you know, a couple hundred yards from Prince George's County. And so actually a little over 50%, or, you know, yeah, I'd say a little over 50%. I have the figures are just not in my head. Of our people are actually from Prince George's County. And so that's a real concern. Or, you know, we right now we're covering all those people, you know, from our own funds. And I don't know if anybody has any experience with trying to get some money from Prince George's County when you're actually located in Montgomery County.
I see smiles.
Reverend Smith.
Hi, Joyce. We can talk offline. Yes, it's a very nuanced and delicate situation. I'll just leave. But more than willing to connect with you offline. We face some of the same challenges. We do serve Prince George's County and Montgomery, but we do serve Prince George's County out of a different tranche of funding. But we do see some Prince George's County residents at our Montgomery County distributions, because right now they're not required to register. We are going to be moving to appointment only, which is a huge shift for us. But we, for all the reasons everyone's already said, that's why it's going to be necessary to go with appointment. And so, but more than willing to talk with you on how we've been to try to secure funding on the Prince George's County side. So I'll shoot you. I'll put my info in the link in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Kendra. I did want to, you know, we have all year to get really in depth with all of these issues that you're bringing up there. I don't think you should ever feel like you might be the only one raising an issue, because chances are we've all heard it before, and it's why we're all here, right? To learn from our collective experience. But, you know, even if it is an outlier, that is also why we're here. But chances are someone else has been in your shoes. I wanted to switch gears a little bit, but this touches on some of the questions that were raised before about resourcing. And, you know, we did have a vendor showcase in December. I don't know how many of you were there, but sort of getting some information about potential resources for ordering food as this funding mechanism has really shifted to provide more flexibility. But with flexibility comes some more, I think, you know, operational challenges. And one of those is really finding where you can get food. So the question was, let me pull it up so I'm true to the agenda here. Have you had any use for any of the vendors that were featured in the showcase in December? Or more broadly, what are the challenges around locating sources of food? You know, anything you can add to the conversation about your attempts to secure food and the challenges you might be facing there.
I can start. I did attend, and I thought it was super interesting, and I, you know, very much into growing and hearing what people are growing and this and that. But my concern is just the pricing. Like, when you're needing to buy at scale, I just don't know how to make these smaller farms work, to be honest. Like, we are close with Dodo Farms, and I would love to support Dodo Farms. But when I match their prices against like Coastal, like, what am I supposed to do? You know, like, I want to support, but it's really hard when you're buying for so many people. Like, how do you, I don't know how to make the ends meet. And that's my main concern.
Yeah, I hear that. Anyone who we haven't heard from yet who wants to talk about this? And then if we have others who've already spoken up, I just want to make sure anyone who hasn't had a chance to speak and wants to, throwing that out there. Hearing nothing. Anyone else who has a top of, some issues they'd like to share?
As Randy has shared, so we have used the list. I thought the list was wonderful. So greatly appreciate the list. We were already working with Community Food Share, but we are working with Jennifer a little bit more. So that was helpful. So we've reached out to her around, just some wholesale purchasing from the farmers. And Randy, to your point, you're absolutely right. And so one of the thoughts is that knowing that, shopping from farmers or some of the minority-based suppliers may be a little bit more costly. We're actually just looking at what percentage of what we're offering we can commit to that based on our budget. So we're committed to doing it. So even if it's a smaller amount, do they have something that may be more germane to a particular ethnic group or community that we can offer? Because for me, it's not necessarily just about the quantity of what we're offering, but it's about providing that connection and access and wanting to support those local organizations. So basically, we're ordering smaller amounts. I said all that to say, we're ordering smaller amounts. And in some cases, we may go ahead and order when I know I could maybe get it a little less expensive from Coastal. But for us, one of our, values is, supporting the organizations that are smaller and that are offering and pouring back into the economy in Montgomery County and other areas. So that's just a decision we've made, but you're absolutely right. It's a hard decision. But, we're just kind of working through it item by item, apple by orange by tomato. So, yeah.
Stephanie, yeah.
It could be that as a group, to counter the pricing question, as a group of DownCounty food assistance providers, that we could say, let's place a group order to get a bulk rate price from farm XYZ, and they deliver it DownCounty perhaps to 2 or 3 sites or one central location where we could get, and that would be a way that maybe we could get better pricing, support local farmers, and as a group help each other to get better, to get a better array of produce in our pantries. That I feel like that is one area that the county could assist the food providers. It's kind of helping us do bulk pricing for lots of things, food purchases or services that we all need, like snow removal, pest control, or other things like that we say, we will do better if we're a group of 25 food pantries that all need pest control. We'll all get better pricing from Terminix. I feel like that is a really good use of this group. In addition, and also for trying to give business and get fresh produce give business to farmers and get fresh produce for our pantries as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, and something I think that is harder to do on a county-wide basis. But the reason why we're really focusing on these regional areas is to be able to, this could be the space where we start to bring farmers in to really facilitate those kind of bulk communal arrangements. Yeah. Okay, we've got 3 more minutes left, so just keeping an eye on the time. Do anyone else have any sort of thoughts or impressions about sort of the purchasing side of things?
I am Curtin. I'm from VAS. I don't have any comment about purchasing, but I like the idea that Stephanie said that we can go together, buy bulk, and we share. It's cheaper on shipping, and yeah. But the thing is that maybe if we get it right away and everyone get the food, but the calendar, how we can schedule for different days. But I think we can find a way to figure it out later. I have a comment and request. If you guys have anything that you think Asian community maybe prefer, please share with us, because some of the things that maybe you don't use, but we use. So if you want, you can share with the group, and we are happy to come and pick up. I work with few of them here, few of you here, and we work that way. So if you have something you think Asian, we will take it. And actually, it's very expensive when we go buy in the store, but you don't use, so don't waste it. That is the first thing. The second thing is we maybe you too and me too we have some grant, and if we can help each other to reach out to beneficiary. For example, I am a grantee with the Department of Environment. We have some give a lot of things to give free for community, especially for low income and lower like a moderate income. You can get free electric stove, and each of them it costs $800. And even you can upgrade your electric panel as long as you qualify, you live in Montgomery County. That is a lot of saving for a family with that appliance. But we lucky we get a grant, but we would like to share the information that's really helpful for the community.
Thank you. Thank you, To. Yeah, eggs off the charts, but To, we hear you in sharing out those resources, sort of thinking beyond food, but then also coming together to save off waste and make sure that our constituents are getting the kind of food they want. Thank you to Kara for her message in the chat. Our third order of business in these breakout sessions, and it looks like we're being called back to the main room, is there is this homework. This is kind of school for grant recipients. For those of you who are grant recipients, we do please ask you to fill out this form. That will help to keep us connected. That will help to keep the wheels on this program. And we look forward to hearing from you there. And we know who you are, so we'll chase you down if you don't do it. And with that, I just thank you all for your participation. And I look forward to seeing you back on the other side.
First, why don't we start things off with introductions? Again, for those of you who I have not met in the past or have not seen my name over many, many emails, I'm Anne Marie Hart Bookbinder. I'm the Director of Food Security Programs here at the Food Council. And I'll let Sharon introduce herself, and then we will move into organizations.
Yeah, thanks, Emery. Good to see you, everyone. I work for the SNAP Outreach team here at the Montgomery County Food Council. So as we were saying, we help clients to apply for SNAP. So please send us referrals. If you have someone who needs assistance, I will be happy to help. So thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, I'm just gonna start calling out folks, but then please feel free to popcorn to someone else. And if you could just share your name and organization, and I don't know, we had Jenna in this room, who's usually the one to kick us off with with icebreakers, but I don't think I'm going to put any extra pressure on you. But if there's anything else you would just like to share about your organization, we are happy to hear it in this space and have everyone have a better understanding of what it is you do. I'm going to start things off with Pastor Samantha.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pastor Samantha DiBiaso. I've been serving at Living Faith Lutheran Church for over a year now. And we've been doing feeding ministry for quite some time, but this last year of 2024, it has really grown. We became Capital Area Food Bank partners, as well as receiving grants from the county. So that's a gift. We serve clients every other Tuesday, about 30 pounds of food, and we're up to 200 clients every other week. So, yeah. Did that cover everything, Amory?
Perfect.
Great.
Perfect.
I can call on someone else. I can just.
Yep.
Great. How about Rebecca Kahn?
I had a feeling it was going to be me. Hello, I'm Rebecca Kahn. I am the Nutrition Services Director at Food and Friends. So we serve home delivered, medically tailored meals or groceries to people in Montgomery County, but also other counties in Maryland and Virginia and the district. And I will popcorn over to Leslie so she can help me with the number of people that we serve, because my brain doesn't have that information available right now. But
good afternoon, everyone. I'm Leslie Woolley. I'm the Chief Program Officer here at Food and Friends. Like Becca said, we provide home delivered, medically tailored meals and groceries for people living with serious illnesses. We serve all of Montgomery County as well as a big swath of the DMV region. And we deliver to our Montgomery County clients on Fridays. So we deliver their full week's worth of meals once a week, so on Fridays. And I'm going to send it over to our colleague, Phyllis.
Hello, everyone. I am Phyllis Gibbons. I'm the Client Services Director, also at Food and Friends. Becca and Leslie have told you who we are and what we do. My team, we work with the intake and referring people to outside resources outside of their food needs. And I will popcorn it to Stephen.
Stephen, you're on mute.
Thought maybe you were going to give me something to eat. All right. And I just got here late. Are we introducing ourselves? Okay. So I'm Steve Corbin. I work at the food pantry at Living Faith Lutheran Church on Beers Mill Road, Rockville, Maryland. And we basically are providing pre-packed bags of groceries, fresh stuff and shelf-stable stuff every other Tuesday. So that's about 26 times a year. And we do a special event in Christmas where we combined the Montgomery County Giving Program of gifts with food distribution. We have a very stable population there. We're like putting up as many as 204, 205 clients for every one of these distributions. Typically, we're giving out like 16 to 28 or 30 pounds of food, estimating maybe about 5 persons per client that shows up there. We have been operating for many years there, although very intensely since the COVID time. And let's see what else. We partner with the Capital Area Food Bank. We have a formal partnership agreement as well as being a grantee from Montgomery County through MANA. And we also get some collaborative help through other churches, food pantries, and we have citizens who come up and give us food. In fact, some of our clients jump up and become volunteers in the packing and distributing food, which is one of the most gratifying things that I think I've ever experienced in church, let alone in social programming. We think we're at capacity. Our physical plant can't really handle anymore. Even if we had more food, we wouldn't have a place to store and process it. And we're anxious about what's going to happen in the days and months ahead in terms of the availability of foods. There's only so much talking about food you can do. We eventually have to hand it over to people if they're going to put something in their belly. Thanks. Now, I don't know how this popcorn works, but pick?
We've only had a few people speak, so you're pretty safe choosing someone else.
All right. How about Caroline? Because your face popped up when I talked.
So just making sure there's another Carolyn on the phone. So hello, everybody. My name is Carolyn Kennedy Piggott, and I'm with the Mount Calvary Baptist Church. And we title our program on Thursday Food Distribution. And we operate on the first and third Thursday of every month. And occasionally we'll have a special distribution like near Thanksgiving or Christmas. like many of you have already indicated, we have been blessed with volunteers, and some of our volunteers have been clients in the past. And in particularly, we have been pleased that where we are language challenged, we've had volunteers that speak Spanish or multiple Asian languages, which has been a huge help to us in how we distribute our foods. We have a choice pantry, and we are supported by Capital Area Food Bank as well as Manna Food Center through the Montgomery County Funds. And so I'm going to pop to, is it Dana? You got to
Sure.
unmute. Yes.
Gotcha. Yes, thank you. Hi, I'm Dana Brown. I'm the Executive Director of MidCounty United Ministries. We're in Wheaton, which would be great for those of you who were speaking before. I was realizing wasn't sure exactly where your locations may be for some of you. We're actually right near the Wheaton Mall, in the same building with the Gilchrist Immigrant Resource Center and Proyecto Salud, the Occupational Health Office of the county, and some others. And we have a full choice food pantry that's open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 10 to 12 and 1 to 3 by appointment. And we have people are usually, it's once a month that they can come. Typically they're getting closer to 40, 50 pounds of food between the perishable and non-perishable items. We have refrigeration and freezers. We also provide emergency financial assistance to people who are facing evictions, utility shutoffs, and with other things. So we have a lot of people that are participating in both programs, and we have had a food as medicine program in the past and are hoping to continue that in the future in partnership with Proyecto Salud, who was referring clients with diabetes, and also working with, I think Jenny was on here, with Community Farm Share. And I will stop there. I will pass to, I'll actually pass to Jackie, who's my colleague, to see if she wanted to add anything.
Jackie, you're on.
Muted. You're muted.
Ha. No, you covered everything. My name is Jackie Ventura. I'm the program manager there at MUM. I oversee all the programs that we offer to our clients in the Mid-County area. As far as Dana kind of covered what we do. So yeah, I'm happy to meet everyone.
And apologies, just as we also partner with Capital Area Food Bank, with Manna's from the food bank program, with So What Else, with lots of churches and others who do food drives and contribute. We also rely, like everyone else, on volunteers for a lot of our work. We're just a very small number of us that are employed part-time, and the rest are all volunteers. Thanks.
Thanks, Dana and Jackie. Brian, how about you?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brian Flores. I am the program manager at the MidCounty Hub in Harvest Intercontinental Church in Only. Again, I'm the program manager, and we have a pantry during the week every Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 2 to 6 p.m. That's via appointments. And then we also have a drive-through distribution on Saturdays that runs from 9 to 11 a.m. And so this last, the snowstorm that came through this last week, we had to close on Tuesday. So I'm very grateful for our staff. They're very flexible. So we actually opened Thursday since we were closed on Tuesday to allow people to come out that weren't able to come out. And so we partner with Capital Area Food Bank, with Manna Food, with So What Else, just to name a few. I mean, we're very blessed with the partners that we have and the amount of support that we get from the community. So yeah, that's us.
Thanks, Brian. And I'm actually going to send things over to Pastor Diana. And I do want to stress that Brian and Pastor Diana represent the two hubs, two of the three hubs that operate in this area. Interfaith Works may just be coming late. When they do, I'll call them out. But obviously not CFA grantees, but, again, just doing so much work in that area. Thanks, Pastor Diana.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry, I have a severe allergy, so I am hoarse a little bit, but it's not cold. Thanks be to God. But it's so nice to see everyone. Happy New Year. So we have been working so diligently with the staff on many programs. We do a lot of programs with many partners like SAMU, Impact, Super Spring, so what else, and the mobile clinic, food and medicine, and a bunch of programs. So this year we started doing a new program. We noticed that the line was too big. It was about 700 people standing in line, and so we was like forever. So we divided this food distribution, which is free choice, into Tuesday for general public and Wednesday morning only for seniors 65 and above. So it's easier. So now we're serving like, it depends, but we have a lot of new people, mostly Asians and a lot of immigrants. And so Tuesday is a long distribution. It's from 9 to 12:30. Then Wednesday is 1 hour for the seniors, which is faster. But still we started getting only 80 seniors. We were like, oh, piece of cake. Half an hour, we're done. Gee. Then next Wednesday, 100. Next Wednesday, 120. Now we have more than 200 every Wednesday. But we like to engage in the community in a lot of activities and programs, especially youth programs, children programs. That's why we bring the Pelicans. It's a Christian team that teenagers or college students that come and do summer camp, summer sports with the children from that community. And we also do Posada for Christmas, which is a big deal with piñatas and Mary and Joseph and the baby looking for a place to stay. And the whole community come and participate, about 300, 400 people sometimes. And we also have the food deliveries. We deliver a lot of food. We have a nice group of volunteers that come in and help us with that. So this year we have new programs, new events, and new ways to reach out to the community.
Thank you,
I
Pastor
would just leave it.
Diana. So I'm looking at the time, and I never want to stop these things because this is important information for you all to have about each other, and so we're going to keep going. What I'm just going to ask you to do in the meantime to make sure we still collect the information we need to collect, if you can also add in the chat, just state the name of your organization and that information that we asked you to come ready with today, which are like, what are 2 operational challenges you would like to focus on with this group moving forward? And what are areas where you feel like you really have knowledge and expertise that you would be willing to, discuss that with others in the group, who might be looking to learn more about that area. So, but otherwise we'll keep the conversation going, but if we can get that rolling in the chat, so we don't lose our purpose of the day. How about Phyllis for next?
If it's Phyllis Given.
Oh, sorry. Is that the one? Yeah, somehow I'm not even keeping track myself. How about Ruth?
Hi, my name is Ruth Filbert. I'm with Only Help. We are a 100% volunteer organization, and we've been in existence since 1969. We deliver all of our food. Our biggest challenge probably is, like many of you, we have grown since COVID significantly, and our space has not grown to meet the need. We built a new pantry in 2017, but had no idea that COVID and inflation would come along. So space is probably our biggest issue. We rely heavily on the community, and they support us tremendously with food and financial donations. We also do financial outreach to families for rent and utilities and other emergency items. We've got about 80 volunteers. And like I said, we deliver everything. We deliver Monday through Friday normally, and occasionally on the weekends. We operate with a database, which has been extremely helpful. And that's probably one of our strengths for organizations that don't have a database. We do not have any freezers or refrigerators, which also limits us. We provide gift cards to residents for fresh foods at the grocery store. And we deliver between 30 and 40 pounds of food to families. They can get food assistance from us once each month. And we pack according to some of their preferences as much as we can and all their dietary restrictions. We also have a Spanish interpreter, and we have a number of Spanish-speaking families that we help. That's pretty much it. That's all I can think of.
That was perfect, Ruth. Thanks so much. Jenny, how about you?
Great, thanks. Yep, Jenny Freeman with Community Farm Share. We do work countywide, but we're joining the Mid-County one now, and we kind of a dual purpose of supporting local farmers and nutrition security. So on a programmatic side, we focus primarily on food as medicine programs and farm to school programs, working with safety net clinics, community health centers, and also with various school programs throughout the county. Having the mission of the local food support, the vast majority of the produce that we buy is from Montgomery County, stretching a little bit regionally when necessary. And produce is sourced locally from that perspective. We're mostly volunteer run. We have just three staff right now. We're looking to also add a nutritionist onto the team to support the food as medicine programs as well. And yeah, we also run last year we started working with mobile markets. So bringing like little farm market to communities, so to schools or to clinic locations so that people could have more of a free choice model to access the produce that they are interested in for their families. But we also provide fresh produce bags as well. That's about it for us right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. Faiza?
Hello, everyone. My name is Faiza Shabani. I'm with the American Muslim Senior Society. As most of you, we rely heavily on the volunteers, and I would like to ask if you can help me. How do you get to increase the number of your volunteers? We have volunteers at the pantry who come and do the packaging, and we don't have an issue with that. Our biggest concern is the volunteers we need the volunteers that they can deliver to the clients. We provide our clients with hot meals, produce, and foods with non-perishable items, partnering with Mana Food. So if you can give me tips of how to get to volunteers who can help us with the delivery, that would be great. Usually we operate twice a month, every other Sunday. And because for this month, due to the storms, we could not deliver. So we're going to cross our fingers that we will be able to do it for the next two Sundays for the rest of this month. We deliver to over 200 people, 200 seniors in Montgomery County, and mostly they are 55 plus. Thank you.
Thanks, Faiza. Aman?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Aman Shergill. So I've been leading the food distribution at the height of COVID. We basically put our faith into action. Being born into the Sikh family, one of the key concepts is sharing a meal with the less fortunate. So a group of volunteers got together and we started preparing fresh meals for families in need. At one point, in the early days, we were providing over 1,000 meals a day to Nourish Now. So I want to fast forward to today just to save time. So right now our distributions are bi-weekly every Sunday. So this is the first time I've taken a few Sundays off. So the next one will start January 26th. So we basically provide freshly prepared cooked meals, milk, bread, non-perishables. And we also So I basically direct clients to county resources that they're not aware of. We had one particular case where a family was going to be evicted and they had no idea. There was 8 people in the house, so I was able to get them resources. So we're not set up to offer a choice pantry, and we certainly don't have an intake process, because when you come into a Sikh temple, technically no one is turned away. But what I would like to learn more about is how to transition into a client-based intake process. Because what we find, the lines are definitely getting longer and more people are needing our help. And the other challenge I'm interested in learning about is which platform, or how do I create a channel of communication for the clients? Because I'll start collecting data at our first distribution, but I want to make sure that we use it to the best of our ability to be able to serve the clients. And the other challenge as well, just very quickly, is that we're now actually interfering with the Sunday service at the temple. So I'm also one of those that looks to collaborate as opposed to start something. So our needs would be a commercial kitchen, and for us to be operate on a Sunday, because most of the clients that are coming to us, they can only come on a Sunday morning because of the 2 or 3 jobs that they're working. But I've got plenty more to share. I'm going to stop here. I'm very mindful of the time. But Anne-Marie, I do want to say, with all the homework you're setting us, I think it might be time for me to get a paid job. But thank you for including us in this.
It'll be fast. It'll be fast. Don't worry. Thank you, Aman. Tammy.
Hi, everyone. I'm the Deputy Director of Nourishing Bethesda. We're a food pantry that operates out of the BCC Rescue Squad in Bethesda, right at the corner of Old Georgetown and Battery Lane. We started in the pandemic in the parking lot as a grab and go, and we're pleased to say that we have evolved to have client appointments, and it is now a choice market. We launched that last year. So we've gone through the process of getting clients in a database and scheduling appointments, et cetera. Happy to share thoughts, and then how do you evolve from prepackaged and sort of contained things to a choice market. So that's something that we took on last year. What do I want to tell you? We have a 37 square mile area that we service. We also honor people who work in Bethesda. We believe strongly that if you're working for 12 hours at a restaurant right down the street, it might be more appropriate for you to get your food at our pantry instead of maybe where you live, which might be UpCounty or somewhere else. So we honor that. Clients can come every other week. We are open Thursday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. and Friday 9:30 to 6 every week. We serve anywhere between, we average over 300 at the Rescue Squad on the Thursdays and Fridays, households every week. We also deliver between 250 to 450 a week. Depends on which week, because some of our big deliveries are every other week. So on average, it's somewhere between 550 and 750 households that we're servicing every week, to give you an idea of what we're doing. We have a staff of 3.5 people. So it's lean and mean, and some incredible volunteers. We have a group of 25, what we call captains, who take on very strategic and much more involved roles. And maybe that's something we can describe, how we work and sort of mentor and nurture something like a captain's group to sort of elevate a regular volunteer into someone who's really doing work in a volunteer capacity. I think that answered most of what you were looking for. If there's anything I'm forgetting, let me know. I look forward to working with you guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Trufina.
Thank you. Good afternoon again, everybody. Trufana Chot is my name. I'm the founder and CEO at AbriThrive. We are based in Aspen Hill, and we do food distribution out of Aspen Hill off Pelfrey Road, Friday mornings, 9 a.m. to about 11:30 to 12. And we also deliver to families, and we are also serving 2 schools this year. And what I wanted to share is that we are a staff of 6, and we are looking to add 3 more staff as our work has expanded. And this is because we also run a community garden. We have a farm in Poolsville, and we are looking to add farm staff for this year. We are looking for production manager, production coordinator, and also we work with local farmers, and we are looking for an outreach specialist who will work with the local farmers to prepare them in producing culturally appropriate food. And I didn't share that we only focus on culturally appropriate food. We give out fresh produce. We don't do canned food. And also what I want to share that this work we are doing, it's the courtesy of so many partners who support our work. We work together with Mana Food, DC Central Kitchen, and also the county through the CFA program. And of course, So What Else comes in handy every now and then, and we add to our stock, and we are happy. And the people we serve are mostly people we serve are immigrant families, seniors from Asia, from Africa, and Latin America. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here just to talk about, space issues, cold storage issues. Those are issues that I'm interested in exploring with all of you. How did you get your space? We are virtual and working with the church. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Megan, I saw that you shared in the chat, but if you were interested in coming on camera or off mute for a second and just saying hello so people connect a name and a face, that's great too.
Hey there. I'm Megan from So What Else. I'm the executive director of the Hunger Relief Program for So What Else. Our warehouse is located in North Bethesda / Rockville, Maryland, but we provide food, clothing, and diaper assistance in Montgomery County, Prince George's County, Baltimore, DC, Virginia, basically anywhere within like an hour radius of us. I mean, honestly, if someone comes from even further away, we are usually happy to serve them. And I think that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Megan. I'm checking. Zheng Zheng? I apologize if I didn't pronounce that correctly. I'm not sure if she's there. All right, we can circle back. Bernice? How about Andy?
Hi, I'm Andy Kronzak, and I'm with the Development Department at the Bender Jewish Community Center of Greater Washington. And this is my first time here, although I recognize a lot of other organizations that I know we partner with on other projects. And so it's great to see you all. Our program is a little different. Our clients come to us. We have a Wednesday program called Selma Sweetbaum Senior Nutrition Program. And it's mostly it's seniors 80 and above, most of who are on a fixed income. And we get nutritionally balanced meals from the Berman Hebrew Academy. So although we're very committed, obviously, as is everybody else here, to inclusion and diversity. And so our clients are I don't want to call them, our participants are very diverse and come from a lot of different backgrounds. And for many of them, it's the only nutritionally balanced meal that they get that week. And so being on the development side of it, I really see the impact that the funding that we get makes. And so we appreciate that. And this is very valuable. I am so glad to hear what other organizations are doing. And thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Taylor?
Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor McCarley. I am a program manager for the Jewish Social Service Agency, also known as JUSA. I oversee our Meals on Wheels program. We deliver countywide. It's home delivered meals. They are kosher. We deliver Monday through Friday. We have 3 staff members and almost 100 volunteers. I think that's about it. Oh, the food is frozen and it's prepared by the Hebrew Home, if I didn't mention that part.
Taylor, any challenges you'd like to discuss in this space or areas of expertise you feel you have to share?
Areas of expertise, I'll say volunteer management and just like database management. Challenges, we also serve UpCounty, and getting volunteers UpCounty is a little challenging. So that's what I would say.
Thank you. Is there anyone here who didn't have a chance to share? I know some folks may not be accessible to their microphones. Don't worry, we will follow up. But if anyone hasn't had a chance to introduce themselves who would like to do so, this is a great time to do it. Okay. Moving on, I do want to ask about, again, if you introduced yourself earlier, but before we kind of talked about challenges, areas of expertise, please feel free to put that in the chat. We do want to make sure that this space is useful for everyone attending. And like I said, we're going to use what we collect here to inform future discussions at future meetings. So please connect here. And Jennifer, I see your hand.
Thanks. Sorry, I tried to jump in and my microphone wasn't working right. So I am Jennifer Renkema. I'm the food pantry director at Silver Spring Christian Farm Church. We're in the Kemp Mill area, in the Kemp Mill Wheaton area. We have 2 distributions every month. So one is our community distribution, and that one is pre-packed and drive-through. And we've been averaging about 720 households at that distribution. And then our other distribution is choice-based, and that one is much smaller. It's about 75 to 100 households. And for that one, we are primarily working with referrals from 3 schools in our neighborhood. We originally started as a choice-based pantry and expanded to the pre-packed model at the beginning of the pandemic. And so we grew a lot then. And then what we did about not quite 2 years ago, we stepped back to doing the one large distribution, and then the referral pantry and bringing back choice. And that one has allowed us to be more sustainable, but also get back to our roots. As far as our, I did put comments in the chat for the other things. I think challenges, one thing that I've been a challenge to try to figure out is a good way to communicate with our participants on a regular basis, not relying on social media. And then also just interested in strategies for appointment-based services, because we may want to head that direction at some point. And then as far as expertise, we do a lot of work with youth from the schools as volunteers. And I'd say that's one of our strengths is our volunteer base as a whole, but particularly working with youth. And then another area, although we do run the 2 different models, I would say our choice area is an area of some expertise that I'd be really happy to share with people.
Thank you, Jennifer. We have about a minute left here. I really appreciate all of this feedback. I'm appreciating that we're hearing some common areas or areas of gaps where others have expertise. So, that's just a great testament, to the reason for bringing folks together. I did want to make sure we touch on the box produce vendor showcase that we hosted last month and the spreadsheet resource that we shared after that. I would love to know if anyone, what your feedback is on that, if you utilize that document, if you reached out to any providers, and if so, how did that go? Were there challenges? Did it work out the way you expected it to? And, anything that we can do to kind of improve that resource. And I'm happy to take feedback via email after the call as well. But if you have any.
Anne Marie, we had a couple people attend. I was not one of them.
Yes.
So what I did hear was it was very useful. I heard very good feedback. And I know that there was some continuing conversations, in particularly around our expanding into more cultural food. So I can only speak to it at like that level, but we definitely held on to the spreadsheet. We will attend again, and we did find it useful.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anyone else? And there's still time to use it. It does not, those were not one-time only offers. Jenny.
Yeah, just to echo that, yeah, you had a few calls come in, which was great. And it was also good because in some cases, like one of them, it was honestly beyond what we were able to do in terms of capacity. So it was pretty cool. So I could just refer them on to the next people. I mean, I know them, so it's nice. I just gave some more references. So just it creates that network of, we're each trying to just see where what our strengths and other organizations are strengths, and then passing them along. So that was cool. It was good.
Great.
And they were even like, oh, we already have their contact information. So it's perfect.
Thank you for doing that. And thank you for participating and for that feedback. We have gotten the message to wrap things up. Again, really appreciate all of your feedback here and in the chat. And please feel free to reach out to me with any other further information. Okay, let's all go back to the main section and I will see you in there.
Supposed to be back in the teens tomorrow, so all the pipes bursting from the change in temperature. Yeah, I hope no one's been affected by that. All right, we might be at a critical mass here. So I'm just going to introduce myself again. My name is Allison Schnitzer. I'm on the staff here at the Food Council. I oversee our SNAP work, but obviously also work closely on all of our food security work. So I will be the facilitator for the UpCounty group today. I think we are a smaller group, which I think is great. And I appreciate, all of you guys being on camera and being engaged and everything. So I look forward to good discussion. So we're just going to start by, especially since we're a small group, going around and introducing ourselves. So I just introduced myself. I'm going to turn it over to the other Food Council member here, Bita, to introduce herself. And then if you can just popcorn it and hang on one second, because I do believe there are things that Anne-Marie wanted us to say. Okay, so just say your name, your organization, and whether or not you are one of the grantees of the OFSR Community Food Assistance Grant.
So hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Bita Momeni and I'm an AmeriCorps Vista doing a service year with the Food Council, and I mainly help with the food security work. And I'm not receiving a grant, unfortunately, but let's see, Margot, would you like to go next?
Sure. Margot Goldman, Executive Director of Gaithersburg Help. And yes, we do receive a grant.
Do you want to popcorn it to someone there, Margot?
How about Kenneth?
Hi, I'm Ken Moroz. I'm with University of Maryland's FNET program through extension here in Montgomery County. We don't receive a grant, but I'm on here to kind of network with other food security providers. I've worked with a few of the UpCounty organizations. I'm just trying to make some connections. Let's go to Katie.
Hello, I am Katie Longbreak. I'm the director of WUMCO, which is Western Upper Montgomery County Help. So we serve Poolsville, Boyd's, and the surrounding area, and we did receive a grant. I'm going to pass it to Cindy.
Thanks, Katie. I am Cindy Majane. I'm the Director of Germantown Help, and we do receive a grant. Thank you very much. How about Casey?
Hi, I'm Casey Dyson with Food and Friends. We actually serve all of the county, so we've got a couple people in the different breakout rooms, and we do receive a grant. How about over to Dara?
Hi, I'm Dara Tokars, KPC Buddhist Relief, and we were the recipient of a grant. Oh, Jenna.
Thanks, Dara. I'm Jenna Umbriak. I'm with Mana Food Center. We are a recipient of a grant, but that is being talked about at the DownCounty meeting. But because we are also an administrator of these grants, to those of you who have credits that you use through us, we're going to be participating in these meetings as in that capacity as well. And I'll turn it to Becky.
I'm Becky Beeler. I'm a member of Epworth United Methodist Church, and we applied in partnership with the Gaithersburg Community Soup Kitchen and received a grant. Oh, I'm sorry, Kenneth. Oh, we've done Kenneth, right? Who's left?
Steve, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, my name is Steve Chen. I'm with the Buddhist Tzuchi Foundation, and we did receive a grant. We serve 2 sites across the county.
Deanna, do you want to go ahead next?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. My name is Diana Tato, and I am with the Office of Food Systems Resilience, here to join and chat with all of you. I mean, to be present. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure, I joined late, so I'm not sure if there's anyone missing from the list.
I think we just have 2 people who haven't introduced themselves yet. I don't know who wants to go first.
I will go. Okay. Yeah. My name is Haile. I am from the Kingdom Cares Care. I am the food operations manager. Yeah, we receive grants.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Rocio Perez. I work at the Community Help Center, Gettysburg Cares Hub at Seneca Creek, and yes, we receive grants.
Okay, awesome. I think we've got everybody. So again, I appreciate you all introducing yourself, being on camera. As Anne-Marie said, one of the goals of this is the networking and the connections between, providers in the same region. So, I hope that as we do this even virtually, but also in person, that we're able to, build that and foster that as we go along. Now, another goal of these spaces is to really learn from each other and increase your capacity as organizations. So the first topic area that we are going to talk about are operational challenges. And the goal will be to identify 2 operational challenges that a lot of you are experiencing and that you would like to work on together as a group this year to kind of try to, come up with some solutions or plans for solutions, or even just, try to work together to address some of them. So I'm going to just open it up for you to share some of the operational challenges that you are experiencing, and then we can kind of see where there is overlap and go from there. So if anyone would like to jump in on some of their operational challenges, please feel free to do so. I know you have them, so we'll start calling on people.
Everyone has problems, but this time we'd love to hear them. So please feel free.
Okay, I can start.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Dara from Buddhist Relief, and we are a little bit different. We don't have very many people that we serve directly. What we do is we work with organizations such as Katie at UpCounty, Shepherd's Table, First Baptist Church, UpCounty Hub's Choice Pantry, the Pool's a Little Free Pantry. And we just say, what is it that you need? What don't the people you serve get that we could provide for you? So it changes on a regular basis. We don't have a physical place where we store all of that. It's really, we go out, we get it, we deliver it. So we kind of exist in the ethers in some way. That brings a little bit of challenge with funding, because some of the funding sources want to see a physical structure. They want to make sure that you're not using the food for personal use or something like that. And we kind of exist in, you know, in a different space. So I would say one of our operational challenges is, from the beginning, we have been funded by a few individuals and a friends program, and we're transitioning, looking for many, many different ways to transition to corporate funding and grants and things like that. And the challenges that come with not being accredited in a certain way like that. And then the second one would be that we all, this is all our volunteer activity through our temple. And I am really fortunate in the sense that I only need to work part-time. You know, I work as a substitute teacher, so I can kind of plan, like today I didn't take a job, so I could be at this meeting here. But it limits us in certain ways, like having the time and focus to really grow. And know that we have so much potential to do that. So I'm assuming those are similar problems that a lot of you might be experiencing in different ways too.
Thank you for that, Dara. Does anyone go next?
I guess I'll go next. So we have a couple of different programs. Epworth Church partnered with the Gaithersburg Community Soup Kitchen when COVID started, because the soup kitchen had to shut down. And so we started doing a box of food pickup, and that has continued on. And then the soup kitchen has resumed operation. And so we definitely share. We're a 100% volunteer operation. And so, you know, to just constantly have the volunteers that you need is a challenge. I think we're a little bit settled in more on that one. I would say the other is just the sources of food are, it's just dynamic. And so, you know, there's the Staples program, which is good, but then the timing of when grants get decided and get issues creates some angst. And then, you know, there's issues with the vendors, like, you know, recently we had someone had a death in the family, and so they didn't put in the order, so we weren't going to get food, and that got sorted out. So it's the trade-off of trying to do some kind of inventory, which requires space and freezer capacity, versus you just get the food when it gets there. We do a fair amount of food recovery, and that's always unknown, right? Like you can just, it can go great for months, and then you show up and Harris Teeter says, we have no bread for you this week. And so I think just that dynamic kind of uncertainty of where's the food going to come from, and do we try and inventory it and make the investment, and like the space is, freezer capacity is something you can solve mostly with money, but just space, like we're not going to add an addition to the church for to warehouse food. So I would say those are our two biggest challenges.
Thanks, Becky. Appreciate you jumping in.
I think I'll go next. So I don't know who all on the call is familiar with the FNET program, the Expanded Food Nutrition Education Program. Our biggest concern, we work with all of organizations like yours that provide food assistance to do nutrition education classes to those, we do both youth and adults. With organizations like this, it's mainly adults. But my biggest issue is not only recruitment because we rely on the organization to help recruit because they know their participants and recipients better than we would. But we'll have people that say they're going to participate. You'll have like a lot of interest, but then people don't show up. And our program runs 5 to 6 weeks. And for us to count our numbers, to go back to NIFA, is they have to complete the entire program. So if I don't get an entry and an exit survey from people, it's difficult. So, I mean, we're working with people that obviously either income limited, they could be, taking day jobs, or, if they can work today or get an extra shift, they're going to do that as opposed to come to the nutrition class. So we're looking at ways to work with the organizations to ensure we have a constant roll of participants. I know it's a great program, but I think more structure needs to come from the top down to make it easier to reach the participants we do. And I've only been with FNEP just over a year now. So I know during COVID, it was 100% Zoom, but I don't know if people want to be doing Zoom. But then you also run into the issue that people with limited resources may not have constant access to a computer. They may not have constant access to reliable internet. So these are all the issues that we run into trying to reach the communities that we serve.
Thanks for all that, Kenneth. Who would like to go next?
I can go. I'm with Food and Friends. I'm not frontline, so I'm not necessarily the best person to answer the question, but I do know some of our bigger issues. One is similar to Kenneth. We have dietitians who do counseling and education with our clients, and sometimes it's just difficult to get them involved, whether it's to get them to call back initially or consistent involvement. We also, depending on the time of year, we have some volunteer issues. It feels like volunteers are being stretched thin by all kinds of groups, so that can also be an issue. Food procurement is I'll go with a third area that we have had issues, bigger issues in the past, really since COVID. I feel like it's evened out a bit, but one of the things we are really trying to do is buy local when we can. We do 2,000 meals a year, so it's a little bit harder. We're more on the size of like the school system. So to work with local farmers, it's quite a matching game, but we're all about trying to figure that out.
Thanks, Casey. Definitely seeing some, common issues here.
I can go next. Especially talking about issues related to all volunteer organizations or mostly volunteer organizations. Gaithersburg Help has been all volunteer for 56 years, something like that. And there are challenges. We have found of late, for example, people will sign up, say, to work in the pantry, and it's a tendency to drop out. People don't seem, because it's a volunteer position, there are times I think when people don't treat it with the importance that it really deserves. And it always leaves us in a point where, somebody else has to fill in or step in and so on. I think those of us who rely on volunteers, whether it's the whole organization or not, are challenged ever more, I think, in sourcing volunteers, because look at us, we all need help, and some, like especially the role of driver, scheduler for transportation programs, those are very hard to fill, although recently we did get a couple of new people. And if we don't have enough drivers, we have a relationship with a taxi company, but we pay for the ride. But I think in the volunteer niche, and just what are some good ways to get volunteers? We're signed up with the Montgomery County Volunteer Center. That has been helpful. We have a lot of member congregations, so we're always putting our information out there. But what I see is that there's always going to be a challenge. We're very fortunate when we have very good volunteers, but there's always needs to be a flow, an influx. And it's interesting that, if others share some ways, other ways they know to get volunteers. I know a lot of us have recruited members of our family and of course friends over the years, but volunteerism is we really exist on the volunteer model, whether we have some paid staff or not. Everybody needs volunteers, and I think it's just a challenge. And even just to think of ways to make it attractive to people. For example, we don't have roles where we can provide SSL hours, and that would be great because that's an enticement, but that's just not how we function generally. So again, just sharing what's difficult for us in terms of recruiting volunteers, and maybe even just, are there methods of training that are better or following up that are better? We have written role descriptions for everything, that's helpful, surely, but it's an ongoing thing, and it always will be as long as we need volunteer recruitment. I think we're all going to be challenged to a certain extent. So I'll be interested to hear what people might have done, sources, or how they advertise, or just experiences, maybe even handling issues you've had with volunteers. I mean, I have had to quote unquote fire a couple of volunteers, for not showing up for things. It's just, there are a lot of things. We're a volunteer organization, but as I think, it has to be run to a certain extent as a business to flourish. So they have to make those kinds of decisions. And it's volunteers as important, I think, as paid staff, and the people who treat it that way are the best volunteers. So that's kind of my ongoing thoughts about, relying on volunteers. And, I share the drama and the stress, but also the rewards of having great people who volunteer for us.
Thank you for that. I definitely think the volunteer management issue is one that the group has a lot of experience with, and could, not to sway anyone, pick as one of their operational challenges to focus on. Who else would like to speak up?
I'll go. I mean, yes, volunteer management is always an issue. As we have it, especially we have a transportation program because of the lack of public transportation in our area of the county. And so we're asking volunteers for significant, driving people to doctor's appointments and things. So it's a big chunk of time. But as far as food goes, it's more the unpredictable cyclicalness, I guess, of when the food is coming in, and then planning around different grants and different donations and different things like that, and having a really good flow in and out of our pantry, and sort of being strategic with using our different resources. That's something we're thinking about.
Thanks for that. Steve, did you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, it's so helpful hearing everyone share on some of their challenges, and certainly, with Siji, we relate to many of them, including, I think, challenges with volunteer management, which I think is systemic and broader and indicative of broader societal trends. Certainly, we also think a little bit about operational issues around handling fresh produce, and around how do we make sure that, we have limited space and infrastructure available to store produce and other perishable items for a long period of time. And so we are constantly thinking about, are there ways in which we can continue to provide that as a service, provide that as an option, recognizing the valuable role of produce and of fresh foods to provide a nutritious meal. And the other thing that I'll add is, I think the way that our food programs work is we work closely with 2 schools and their linkages to learning program. And so we work with the social workers at the YMCA as well as with Shepherd Pratt. And oftentimes what we have observed is that we know that the need in the area is much larger than what we are being told through the community, through the linkages to learning program, because obviously the social workers have a limited caseload that they can handle. And so are there ways in which we can acknowledge, recognize, serve the larger need while continuing to to work with and to recognize the existing partnerships we have with through that program. And so it's really interesting conversations, because obviously we don't want to add to the immense burden as the immense caseloads that these providers already have, but want to address some of the larger needs that we see.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Has everybody gone? Am I missing anyone who would still like to speak up?
I didn't.
Oh, sorry, Cindy, go ahead.
That's okay. I don't think I have anything that hasn't already been mentioned. We're just coming out of the holiday giving project, so we had 800 and some households to serve by December, and we delivered toys to like 430 of them, so we get the toys in and turn them around and deliver them all in about 5 days. So that's a huge burst of activity. Yes, I got sick. I always get sick right after it's over. But it's a huge burst of activity in borrowed space at Montgomery College. During COVID, we went with the delivery model instead of making people come pick up, which is much better for the recipients. And it turns out people like delivering presents that they don't even have to buy. So we've just had a really good relationship with the community, like some people come every year, but there's always new groups of people that show up, like Top Golf or whatever showed up this year. They had a huge group, and they tend to want to come back. But then when you have a project like that, then you get people who want to keep helping throughout the year. So every year after December, we have a crop of new volunteers that are joining us on a regular basis throughout the year. So sometimes having a big project that has outreach into a community that you're not really usually dealing with as much can get you regular volunteers back. So we've been enjoying that. It's a good time of year.
Yeah, that's great. Hopefully it's not like all the gym memberships and everyone just goes in January and then Peter's
I mean, we probably have 70 or 80 at least volunteers involved in that 5-day period between the people who are sorting and the people who are delivering and whatnot. So maybe we get 6 new people. It's not like it's a huge percentage. We don't go after them that hard either. And some of them volunteer during the holidays every year for years, and then it eventually occurs to them that they'd like to help all year. So we're like very low pressure about that, but it sometimes projects and our food distribution projects have been a really good source of new volunteers too. And it's a different thing than we do the rest of the time. So having different projects in different places is useful.
That's great. Well, one thing we didn't really talk about in this initial conversation, but will in subsequent ones, are areas where you feel as an organization you excel in addressing some of these operational challenges, or maybe not even excel, but have a lot of experience or have some tricks and whatnot to share. And so that's something that we'll think about as the ones we just discussed. Start thinking about areas where there's one more person who did not speak though. I don't know if you want to chime in or not. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's the same, the volunteers issue.
Okay.
Always like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Thanks for providing that. Okay, well, we have about 10 minutes left in this breakout, and I wanted to transition a bit and turn it over to Bita to talk about the produce box showcase that we did last month and kind of get some feedback on that. So I'll turn it over to Bita if you're ready.
Yeah, sure. So last month we hosted a box produce vendor showcase. Hopefully you saw an email about it if you weren't able to attend. It had a bunch of resources, so just going to recap what was in there in case you weren't able to view that. A lot of people were having difficulty sourcing box produce, especially after some programs were ending. And so we wanted to address this need by coming up with a list of more local providers and vendors that could assist you with that, and that we already had the information for, so it would cut some of the research that you would have to do. And so we have a spreadsheet with a bunch of information, such as whether they have cultural produce options, whether they do delivery, minimum fees, maximum fees, I guess. I don't know if anyone's hitting the maximum for most of those, but and whether they do all year round service. So we have all that information. Definitely can send it out again, because I think it's always useful for people to have different access to vendors, especially since, as a lot of you said, the influx of food is cyclical. So yeah, I'm not sure if any of you were able to attend, but if you were, just want to hear some thoughts about that. If we could improve on that, if you've reached out to anyone, or if you plan to use that list we created, or any challenges with that list. But yeah, just thoughts.
I did attend that, and I found it very interesting. It always impresses me the commitment that Montgomery County has made to, the farm money to help them grow certain crops, and just the whole agricultural reserve. We are not in a position really to, I'd like to order, but we have some problems, I guess, because of the volunteerism too, that sending people out to pick up stuff can be very difficult. But just from our standpoint, we do provide fresh fruits and vegetables, but we've been ordering them through Spectrum, which used to be Stanley Foods, and that has worked for us. Now through CFR, we do get things brought in, but it's not like we're ordering specifically, something from a local farm. But in any case, I found it very interesting and impressive that there were so many people committed, not just to farming, sustainable farming and providing specialty foods. I think Montgomery County, supports us in a great way. And I'm sure if many people didn't get to see that showcase, it'd be something that you would present again. And maybe some thoughts about, how could we, with our particular delivery model, how could we avail ourselves, maybe even just in summertime, of getting hold of more direct produce from some local farms? I'd like to know more.
Yes, Margot, that's a great point. We're planning on hosting another boxed, or I guess not even box, but just a produce showcase.
Yeah.
When the farming season is really active. So hopefully there will be a lot more options, and nutritious foods there that people can purchase.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Any other thoughts from anyone else? If not, that's okay, because our time here is ending, so we can get on to the next point on the agenda.
Yeah, and I think as Anne-Marie discussed, you guys have a little bit of homework. So since we have about 6 minutes left of the breakout, I can give you some time to do that homework. In middle school, my son's middle school, they call it Phoenix time to get your homework done. So here, you guys get a little bit of Phoenix time to get your survey done. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat. And again, it is one per organization to complete. And this is about making sure that you're looped into these regional convening spaces that we're going to be holding on the schedule that Anne-Marie shared. Also to make sure that your organization is listed in both our food security food assistance resource map and the county's food assistance page. And then also to just do some logistical planning around,
I'm happy to report out the beauty of going second. Many of the issues I'm sure that were raised UpCounty or also raised DownCounty, including the issue of volunteer retention and also some pretty, I think, fundamental coordination issues, both among providers in scheduling distributions, also coordination to bolster resources through more coordinated purchases or negotiating better prices, because the other big, I think, challenge was resources, and with shifts in funding, how to manage operations in light of that, how to find new resources. And then finally, just issues around the types of services provided and how we are reaching our communities, you know, be it language barriers or cultural barriers. How are we forming relationships among the communities, and how are we serving with intention?
Thank you. And I will speak for the MidCounty group. Again, volunteers, definitely an issue of concern, but we had a lot of folks who had expertise with volunteers, as well as folks who had challenges with volunteers. Lots of challenges with space and logistics, cold storage, many opportunities, many groups doing a lot of deliveries, also groups that have expertise in data collection and scheduling, but then again, providers who need assistance in that space. I think I covered a lot of what we heard there. And then also, I just wanted to take a second because, again, I had to email myself while I was sitting in the room because I realized something I forgot to mention in my presentation. I did just want to highlight and thank the many hubs who have joined this conversation. You know, hubs were not eligible for community food assistance grants. They receive funding in other ways, but are really integral providers in this space. And are definitely a source of resources for wraparound services and other services that your organization may or may not be able to provide in the community. And so again, just a really important player to have in these groups for everyone to connect with and learn about and be familiar with. So I do want to thank all of them for participating today. We were able to also get a little bit of feedback from our box produce vendor showcase last month and the resource guide that went out with that. I don't know, we didn't have a ton of time to discuss it. I don't know if the other groups did, but I had a few folks share some positive feedback about using that resource. We'd love to hear more from others, you know, either now or in the chat, or please feel free to email me if you had any challenges using that resource. If you reached out to providers and had a great experience, please let us know. If you reached out to providers and did not have a great experience, please let us know. We definitely want to know what else we can do to improve that information. And again, we are planning another call in March, focusing on, again, local either farmers or aggregators that are operating on the traditional growing season and did not have produce available year round. So that was kind of our cutoff point for last month, but in March, that's what we are planning on. So more information on that. I think we have a quick poll to share if there are no other, sorry, I did see something in the chat. Let me just check. Questions? Oh, sorry, okay. Okay. There may be a question with the form. I will get on that. So as soon as we get off this call, and I will fix that if you're having problems there. Okay, thanks. Thank you, Stephanie. I believe we have a quick poll to share. Bita, can you launch that, or do I need to launch that? If I do that, is fine. Oh, here we go. I can do that. Okay, if you wouldn't mind just sharing your feedback on today's call. While I have that up, again, just stressing that we will be following up with everyone, you know, in the next couple of days, sharing slides, recordings from today, feedback. I'll fix the form and we'll reshare the links there. But again, if you could please get back to us by the end of the week. We really need to know your contact folks and your availability for future meeting planning so we can start getting those February regional meetings scheduled and out for your information. Yes, Stephen.
Yeah, I want to leave a thought with everybody. I don't need a response to it. And I'm not going to go into too much depth, but I think in some ways there's a 2,000-pound elephant right outside the room that we're not seeing because we've got the shades pulled down. Yes, food supply, food resources is a major challenge for us, and we all are obviously concerned about that. But we also need to be concerned that there are potential threats to our overall programming and our ability to serve our customer base in a just, humane, and legal fashion. And I wrote a letter a few days ago to Kate Stewart, who is the chair of our Montgomery County Board, saying that we really need to start preparing for things that may be coming down. When I say they may be coming down, there's already news reports on WRC that's possible that there's going to be in-person raids or whatever you want to call it somewhere in the Washington, D.C. area around the issue of people who are legally here or not and how they're going to do all that. I'm just saying that this is such a threat for most of us, particularly since a lot of us do collect data from our clients that's personally identifiable somewhere. And that if we get a situation where any resource that's made available to us, even if it's an indirect provision down from the federal government and all that, could be subject to claims that we no longer have sovereignty in our programs, whether it be state sovereignty, municipal sovereignty, or even individual organizational sovereignty. I volunteer in a church. We are a government recognized religious organization, and then that gives us certain prerogatives relative to tax status and all that. But I hope that you'll communicate this back up. I did it in writing, so that and I got a written response. Thank you. We're looking into it, and I just think we need to. There needs to be preparations at levels be above us that transcend the food security area, but will certainly sweep in the food security area. So thank you for letting me put that on the table.
Yeah, and Stephen, I will stress that our SNAP team attended recently. County Council hosted a resource fair on a Sunday at the Executive Office Building to reaffirm their commitment to providing services and resources to residents, now and in the future. And so I think we're definitely getting a clear message on that. But again, I think this is all the more reason as we move forward to meet regionally and discuss, what are we seeing in areas, what challenges may be coming down the way, and how do you best prepare. And like I said, I think those regional meetings will be a great space for you to report exactly what it is you're seeing, and if you are just seeing changes in the residents who come out seeking assistance because of different situations or fears of situations, that is something that we will definitely discuss further in those spaces. But that is the update that we have now. And Deanna, as someone here from OFSR, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add about that, that may be being discussed in county government, but I think that's what we know now.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. No, thank you, and thank you so much, Steve, for bringing that up. We are aware of that. Our county leadership is as well. Those are threats that we're conscious of. We have experienced similar things in the past, in the first presidency of Mr. Trump. So we will be working on that together, and we really appreciate our partners sharing information with us and keeping that communication line open.
And thank you, Jennifer, for sharing connection information for the Gilchrist Center there. I know the SNAP team has been discussing legal assistance resources for residents. So that's certainly information that, as it comes our way, we can share that out with anyone who has clients that might be in need of that type of assistance and information. All right, that being said, it is 2:30. Thank you again so much for your time. Thank you. Bita has been putting updated links in the chat for some of those forms, but do not worry if you don't